CBS 42 Morning News.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the CBS 42 Morning News. Love having you. I'm Alex Finney. Developing now, we are working to learn new information after 2 people are killed in a crash in Shelby County. Now, we first told you about this as breaking news last night at 10 o'clock. We do know that the crash happened around 5:45 yesterday afternoon on Alabama State Highway 145, just south of County Road 47. Now, as soon as we learn more information and as soon as we get more information into our newsroom, we'll pass it along to you right here on air and also online at WIAT.com.
They fired the last superintendent for the same things that they just done.
Stop.
To our other top story this morning, tempers flare at the Birmingham Board of Education meeting as the search for the next superintendent continues. Now, the school board met yesterday afternoon hoping to narrow down the list of superintendent finalists to just 2 people. Well, we do know they did just that, but it didn't come without anger and a whole lot of controversy. The board chose Lisa Herring of Kentucky and Regina Thompson of South Carolina as those 2 finalists, but protesting parents, they weren't satisfied with those choices. They say they're upset that none of the finalists actually come from local city schools. We know things got so out of hand that one audience member had to be escorted to the door by security.
We're very excited to have these candidates come back in. It's very important to us that we maintain the leadership of our district and that we go ahead and get someone in place so that we can continue with the business of teaching and learning.
Lisa Herring and Regina Thompson are both expected in Birmingham Tuesday and Wednesday, where they will tour schools and interview at the central office. The school board hopes to choose a candidate by May 2nd. Alabama is changing the way it handles Amber Alerts. Now, Governor Kay Ivey says the state will no longer wait for a missing child to be reported as, quote, abducted for an Amber Alert to finally be issued. Now, the change was prompted by an incident in Bessemer on Wednesday night. A mother left her child inside a car at a Citgo gas station. Surveillance video shows the suspect, Jimmy Lee Wells, getting into that car and driving off with the baby still inside. He's now facing kidnapping and theft charges. The policy change for Amber Alerts is effective immediately. Now, Governor Ivey says the change will, quote, ensure that we are keeping the public better informed. Amber Alerts give all Alabamians the opportunity to be involved in caring for our children. Over to this story now. A teenager has been charged in the church carnival shooting that left 6 people injured. It happened nearly a week ago. It was last Saturday night. 6 people, including an 11-month-old girl, were injured. 17-year-old Lyric Bailey of Birmingham is charged with assault. Now, investigators tell us he left the gun right there at the scene. Police arrested him later at school.
As we thought, this was going to be over some kind of a silly argument. In this case, the suspect says it was over a girl, and he started the fight and quickly realized that he was outnumbered, so he pulled his gun out and started running and shooting to get himself out of the fight.
The youngest victim in the shooting is Carly Craves. We're told she's doing just fine, and we know that she celebrated her first birthday on Wednesday.
All right, the weekend finally here, and guess what? We've got another weather maker just off to our west. So let me walk you through the forecast. Today is a weather aware day. Why, you ask? Well, that's how we roll here at CBS 42. We're going to make you aware of changing weather. So this morning, not a bad start. In fact, it's mild. Clouds are increasing, but just off to the west, an area of low pressure right there. There it is. Severe storms lining up across parts of Mississippi. This is a severe thunderstorm watch. So there we go. We're going to be tracking this action as it continues to move to the east and off to the southeast. Right now across northern Mississippi around Oxford, showers and storms. There's been a tornado report across parts of northeast Mississippi. Here's a look at that severe thunderstorm watch. Not for us. So the bottom line is this. Starting the day out, dry, but as we get into the second half of the afternoon into the early evening, this picture will be changing. Showers and storms packing a punch. 9 o'clock this morning, 70 in Birmingham under a partly cloudy sky. 12 o'clock this afternoon, clouds increase, still fairly quiet as far as the weather goes. Here come those storms starting to pop around 5 p.m. Some of these storms could put out those winds well over 60 to 70 miles an hour with some hail as well. And then the action continues through the evening hours, and then things will calm down as we head into our Sunday. I'll have more on the forecast coming up in a few minutes. Alex.
Michael, thank you so much. These that you're taking a look at here are new pictures from the Northern California cabin where police found missing Tennessee student Elizabeth Thomas and her former teacher Tad Cummins. Now, they had been missing since March. Police say the cabin's caretaker, Griffin Berry, tipped off law enforcement. Cummins now faces a number of state and federal kidnapping and sexual assault charges. The family's attorney says Thomas is back in Tennessee and will undergo mental health evaluations.
I was like, that's the guy. And then we ended up like calling the police. I'm glad that I got the help do that. I guess I'm glad he came out here and I got the help.
Thomas and Cummins were found in the remote town of Cecilville, California, an area that we know where there's very limited, if any, cell reception in that area, which now leads me to the next part of this story. The caretaker who found the two, Griffin Berry, who you just heard from, says the pair came up to him asking for help, saying they were on their last $10, and it was several days later that Berry started to notice a number of red flags. Take a look.
She's always like looking way over there, but I figured, you know, they had a house fire and lost everything, so it was just really hard times for him or something, so I was trying to help him out.
Berry eventually helped police by getting Tad Cummins outside of that remote cabin, where they then later arrested him. Covering the state of Alabama this morning, it is a bill in Alabama the Alabama legislator would allow, and this specific bill would allow the words "In God We Trust" to appear on any public building in the state. Senator Gerald Dial of Lineville introduced the measure last week. If it passes and someone wants to display the quote, it would have to be approved by a state agency, a municipality, county, or school board. Now, Dial has introduced similar measures in the past, like allowing displays of the Ten Commandments on public buildings. Also from Montgomery, State Auditor Jim Ziegler finishes 2 of the 4 required exit audits following the resignation of former Governor Robert Bentley. Staff has accounted for all items of state property in the governor's office, in the Capitol, and at the governor's mansion. Now, an audit of the Blount estate in East Montgomery is expected to be finished on Tuesday. New this morning, family, friends, and the community say their final goodbyes to a child killed during an elementary school shooting in California. Jonathan Martinez and teacher Karen Smith were killed when Smith's former husband walked into her San Bernardino classroom and started shooting. Cedric Anderson eventually killed himself. Former teachers, students, school leaders, and first responders paid their respects during Martinez's funeral yesterday.
Jonathan had a very upbeat and bubbly spirit, always smiling. He was always very playful. And the times that his father brought him by our home, I would always just interact with him, and he would always be cheerful and everything like that.
Very, very sad. Well, Martinez had a rare genetic condition and had several heart surgeries. A GoFundMe page was established to help the family, and so far, more than $130,000 has been raised. Turning our attention now to this story, former President Barack Obama is set to make his first post-White House appearance on Monday. Obama's office says he will be joined by young leaders on April 24th at the University of Chicago. They plan to discuss local community affairs, and the meeting is part of the nonprofit Obama Foundation to help develop the next generation of citizens. Obama is also set to accept an award in Boston next month. In late May, he will be meeting with German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Don't go anywhere, everyone. Your time right now, it is 5:09, and power is finally restored to thousands in San Francisco after an ordeal yesterday. Straight ahead, what officials think is to blame and what some people had to go through. You're watching CBS 42 Morning News. We'll be right back.
You're watching the CBS 42 Morning News.
Good Saturday morning to you, Central Alabama. Thanks for joining us as you kick off the weekend. Yes, today is a weather aware day, and here's why. Big weather maker off to our west. Showers and severe storms currently in progress right now across Mississippi, parts of Arkansas, and to northern Louisiana. A cold front to the northwest. Out ahead of it, it is warm. The air mass is unstable. There's a severe thunderstorm watch in place across parts of Mississippi, Arkansas, and Louisiana. So when's that weather going to start to move in to central Alabama? It's going to be, I would say, around 5 o'clock this afternoon, evening, across parts of northwest central Alabama for the most part. So we'll start with our Storm Track Futurecast clouds and radar. This is 3:30 this afternoon. Clouds increase, isolated showers and storms. That starts to pick up by 7 o'clock this evening, those storms. Again, some of these storms will pack a punch, damaging wind up and over 60 miles an hour, hail and frequent lightning. Then the storms will wind down as we head into the overnight hours. Sunday into Monday morning, things will be noticeably, I'm going to use the word colder. Yesterday, our high temperature 87. We're going to drop back into the 50s by Monday morning. All right, we're going to talk about this. Happy Earth Day. Today is Earth Day. Today's the 22nd, right?
Yes, it is.
I'm just double checking. So we're going to celebrate awareness about the environment with you all, including myself. So let's talk about when it was first held, 1970, and it helped generate support from the Environmental Protection Agency, and also since then has put down environmental laws. Earth Day rallies are global things right now, and including right here in Birmingham, some special events are planned at the McWane Center, and, ooh, I like it, right? And the Avondale Brewing Company to help the environment. Here are a few tips. Use less plastic and reduce that air pollution any which way you can.
Yay, happy Earth Day. Perfect. All right, let's go to this story, though. The 6-year anniversary of the April 27th tornado outbreak is quickly approaching. And since that tragic day, emergency management agencies throughout Alabama have been working around the clock and across county lines to keep families safe. The Jefferson County EMA and Tuscaloosa EMA are coming together to talk about a new way to better notify communities during severe weather. Both counties are now on the same county-wide notification system called Everbridge.
April 27th, the tornado that hit Tuscaloosa ended up in Jefferson County, the same one. So we need to work together so we can keep our citizens safe. If we have anything that we would want to say, it's we don't want any more fatalities. We don't want any more people killed.
Absolutely, Jim Coker is right. Now, if you want to sign up for the alerts, you can find the links on our website. Go to WIAT.com and just search Weather Alert. New this morning, the power is back on in San Francisco. Finally, about 88,000 customers were affected after a circuit breaker failure shut down a huge part of downtown yesterday. People were forced to cover their faces because of a chemical smell from the smoke. Now, after several hours, crews were able to get that fire under control.
We had an equipment failure, a catastrophic failure of one of our circuit breakers. When the circuit breaker failed, it created a fire around the breaker. The insulation around the breaker burned, and that's what created the situation for us.
Well, crews are still trying to figure out why the breaker failed, but the cause is likely to be age-related. Turning our attention now to consumer news this morning, Samsung's long-awaited Galaxy S8 phone is officially on sale right here in the United States. The company says pre-orders already surpassed those for the previous S7. Samsung's looking to regain customer trust after a major recall of its Note 7 phones because of exploding batteries. Now, this new phone has a voice assistant and can also be unlocked with facial recognition, and it also has an iris scanner as well. And for the first time, Verizon actually lost more customers than it gained in the first part of the year. It comes as competitors like T-Mobile and Sprint offer competitive phone and data deals to lure in those customers. Verizon reintroduced its unlimited data plan in February, and of course, that's helped stop some customers from switching service providers, but not everyone. Okay, well, it's going to cost Wells Fargo more money to settle its fake account scandal. The bank says it's adding $32 million to the settlement. That brings the total amount to $142 million. Wells Fargo has been under fire ever since it was revealed last year that up to 2 million fake accounts were opened to meet unrealistic sales targets. More than 5,000 employees have been fired in connection to the scandal. In consumer news this morning, another 90s mall staple is shutting its doors. The women's clothing store BB says it's closing all of its locations by the end of May. There's only one here in Alabama, and it's at the Summit in Birmingham. All right. Well, if you've ever had a Dum Dum lollipop, there's a good chance one man probably made it. Since 1969, Al Braun has been a candy maker who's helped make more than 50 billion lollipops. But now he is moving on. News of his retirement quickly spread on social media with more than 25 million views on Facebook and Twitter.
I've done pretty much everything. I've cooked safety pops, I've cooked candy canes, I've worked in the starch room where the marshmallow peanuts are made, and for the last 25 years I've been running baggers.
Well, Braun says he's not sure what retirement will hold, but he says he's definitely going to enjoy it. He also says that the goal in his life is to touch other people's lives, and he loves how the candy brings people happiness and joy. Absolutely, it does. All right. Well, if you have kids in your house, there's probably a chance that you have chicken nuggets in your freezer, right? So if that's the case, you'll definitely want to listen to this story. Banquet is recalling some of their chicken nugget meals. It's not the chicken you need to be worried about. Now, it's the brownie dessert that comes with it, actually. The company claims it might be contaminated with salmonella. The meals involved in the recall have a best buy date of July 20th of 2018. Now, for more information about this recall, go to our website, WIAT.com, click on news, and then links. It's a big announcement from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Alabama. They're no longer going to cover the EpiPen and Adrenaclick auto injectors. Now, the devices are used to treat severe allergic reactions. Blue Cross claims their prices have gone up so much that they can no longer cover those two items. It will, however, cover the generic version of the EpiPen, but not the generic version of Adrenaclick. Now, the changes go into effect July 1st. Well, over to this story now. If you drink a lot of diet soda, you may want to hold off on opening another can after hearing this. A new study suggests that people who drink diet soda and other artificially sweetened drinks every day are almost 3 times more likely to develop stroke and Alzheimer's disease. That's according to researchers from Boston University. They stress, though, that the findings do not prove the drinks cause the memory or heart issues, just that there's a link. Covering Birmingham this morning, the future leaders of jazz are performing in the Magic City this weekend. Music to my ears sounds so great. That's a small sample from a previous performance. This is the last day for the Jazz Band Festival, which is being held at the Alabama Jazz Hall of Fame. Students from local high schools and middle schools will get the chance to perform in front of an audience in a very friendly competition. The event is free and open to the public. Love that. In entertainment news this morning, it's been more than 20 years since Bill Nye, the science guy, first hit the airwaves. Well, now Nye has announced he's back and he's coming to Netflix. It's called Bill Nye Saves the World, and he says the show is aimed at adults, in particular grown-ups, voters, and taxpayers. Nye says that he'll address a number of issues facing society from a scientific standpoint, such as climate change and science exploration. All right, might have to check that out. And over to this now, Chris Pratt gets a big honor in Hollywood. He's the latest actor to get that famous star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. He's best known for roles in movies like Guardians of the Galaxy and Jurassic World, and also on the TV comedy Parks and Recreation. Pratt glowingly thanked his mother, brother, and wife, actress Anna Faris. Well, congratulations to him. Your time right now, everyone, it is 5:21, and after a break, it's a dream come true for one girl in Washington, D.C. who loves to play the violin. After the break, how this college student and a 3D printer are bringing her so much joy this morning. You're watching CBS 42 Morning News. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Well, she is a TV star and a Birmingham native. Now, NCIS New Orleans actress Shaquita Smith is coming back for a visit. Yesterday, she stopped by A.G. Gaston Boys and Girls Club, the same organization she was a part of as a child. Talk about coming full circle, huh? During her visit, she talked about living in Birmingham and her career, and she credits the organization for helping her become who she is today. Well, that's so wonderful. New this morning, it's an incredible story from Virginia. Born with only one hand, a Washington, D.C. girl is now learning how to play the violin, all thanks to a 3D printer. 10-year-old Isabella Cabrera was born without a left hand and only has a partial bone from her left elbow to her wrist. Playing the violin has always been a dream of hers. And now, thanks to a special 3D printed hand, she knows her dream is now a reality.
Very happy and very blessed that I have this amazing group of people that have helped me make this attachment that I can play the violin with.
Well, the 3D arm was created by 5 George Mason University bioengineering students. They started making it last fall. Well, isn't that good, making that little girl's dreams come true, right, Michael? Mm-hmm. Awesome. All right, everybody, it is Saturday. It is 5:24 in the morning. Let's get a check on your Saturday morning forecast, shall we?
Yes,
what do we got, Michael?
We've got changing weather on the way. So starting out this morning with a mainly clear sky across east central Alabama. However, the clouds are thickening up across west central Alabama. It's a roller coaster ride, so buckle up. Welcome aboard.
Here we go.
You're on board with us. This is Flight 42 on this Saturday morning. So a live look outside right now with our CBS 42 tower camera. The twinkling lights of the Magic City. Okay, so not too bad as we kick it off this Saturday morning. Look at the temperature, though. It is 69 in Birmingham. P.S. We got up to 87 yesterday afternoon, so the warm air is in place right now. The humidity, that's in place as well. Here's the setup. An area of low pressure and severe storms currently in progress across parts of Mississippi, Arkansas, northern Louisiana, stretching southwest into parts of East Texas. This line of nasty weather will continue to make its track off to the east, so that means it'll be moving into our area, not this morning, later this afternoon into the evening. So from the Storm Prediction Center, this is the convective outlook or the severe weather chance, if you will, slight chance across a good chunk of central Alabama. And I would say between 5 o'clock this evening to 11 o'clock tonight. That's the window we're looking at. And some of those storms will pack a punch. And then it's all out of here. Cold front slides through. You're going to notice a big change in the air tomorrow morning into Monday morning. All right, so let's time this out hour by hour with our Storm Track Futurecast. Clouds, radar, and temperatures. 12 o'clock this afternoon, upper 70s, lower 80s, a mix of sun and clouds. The storms, again, they're going to start to pop, I would say, between 5 and 7. Some of them packing a punch with winds up and over 60 miles an hour, perhaps. Frequent lightning. If you're outdoors, you hear that thunder, that's your cue to take it indoors. That means lightning is close enough to be very dangerous and deadly. Cold front comes through early tomorrow morning. Behind the front, look at the temperatures into the 50s. So falling temperatures on Sunday morning. The clouds hang out, but we're going to take it all the way down into the low and mid 50s. And it's going to be a slow warm-up on Sunday afternoon with high temperatures behind that cold front at best in the mid to upper 60s. So again, today's a weather-aware day, turning noticeably colder/cooler Monday morning with those temperatures in the low 50s. Alex.
All right, Michael, thank you so much. Everybody, your time right now, it is 5:27, and after the break, President Trump wastes no time signing executive actions, but are they really accomplishing anything? That is the big question, and ahead, we're taking a closer look at his first 100 days in office as it comes closer and closer. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Good morning, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Anniston, and all of Central Alabama. You're watching the CBS 42 Morning News.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for waking up with us. This is the CBS 42 Morning News. It is 5:31 on the dot. I'm Alex Finney, and as always, alongside of me is Storm Track meteorologist Michael Smith to let us know about that weekend forecast. Michael?
Yeah.
A roller coaster ride, you were saying,
Yeah,
right?
the ups and the downs and everything in between.
Yes.
All right, so today's a weather aware day. That means I want you to be weather aware, meaning it's calm and quiet this morning, but this afternoon into the evening, that's not the case. Here's the setup. An area of low pressure across Arkansas. There it is. Out ahead of it, the air mass is very warm, mild, unstable, and humid. So a severe thunderstorm watch in place across parts of Mississippi, Louisiana, down into Texas. So let's time this out for you. 9 o'clock this morning. Not a bad start once again as we kick it off this Saturday morning. A few clouds overhead. Temperatures will quickly jump back into the upper 70s, lower 80s, 12 o'clock this afternoon. So mainly smooth sailing this morning into the afternoon. It's the second part of the day later on this evening between 5 and 7. The cold front on the approach, out ahead of it, those storms really get going. A few of them could be strong and or severe, packing a punch with those winds up and over 60 miles an hour. Remember, if you're outside and you hear thunder, that means lightning's close enough to be dangerous and deadly. You want to take it indoors. And then the cold front comes through late tonight, early tomorrow morning. Temperatures behind the front take a tumble back into the 50s as we look ahead into Sunday morning. We'll talk more about this rough weather potential in just a few minutes. Alex.
All right, Michael, thank you so much. President Donald Trump is taking steps to shrink taxes and regulations. All of this comes as he heads towards his 100-day milestone in office. Take a listen. Now, I want you to actually explain this for you. As President Donald Trump approaches his 100th day in the White House, he's trying to make the case he's accomplished a whole lot, while at the same time calling the benchmark ridiculous. Yesterday, he walked over to the Treasury Department to demonstrate his intent on reforming taxes and rolling back Obama-era Wall Street reforms. Now, the president signed an executive order to review new 2016 tax regulations, looking to scrap those tax burdens that have been placed on taxpayers. Take a listen.
People can't do their returns. They have no idea what they're doing. They're too complicated.
Well, next week, President Trump is looking to the House to reboot, repeals, and replace legislation for health care. This comes as a potential government shutdown looms if Congress can't agree on a budget. Well, as President Trump signs a string of executive orders, some argue the president has had no legislative victory since taking office. Now, we're taking a closer look at his executive orders in a story that's all new this morning. On day one, President Donald Trump got down to business signing an executive order to ease the burden of Obamacare. Of the more than 70 executive actions President Trump has signed, a CNN investigation shows only a handful of them have had a major impact. Now, Trump's travel ban is an example of an executive order that was blocked by federal judges. And here's what one person had to say about all of that. Take a listen.
What we've seen so far with many of his executive actions is not really shock and awe policy making, but slow bureaucratic policy making.
But several of Trump's executive actions have made waves, including his presidential memorandum to withdraw the United States from the Trans-Pacific Partnership and an executive order promoting energy independence, which curbs carbon dioxide emissions. New this morning, the Justice Department sends a series of letters to government leaders in so-called sanctuary cities. The letter notified jurisdictions that they have until June 30th to prove their city complies with the federal immigration law. The law requires local authorities share people's citizenship or immigrant status with the Immigration and Naturalization Service if requested. Now, if the cities don't, they could lose funds provided in 2016 justice assistance grants. New this morning, we are learning new details concerning the suicide of former NFL player Aaron Hernandez and a new possible lawsuit as well. You're taking a look at that video now. This was a few years ago when he was escorted out of his home. What we know is that Hernandez apparently left 3 handwritten notes in his jail cell before he committed suicide. Now, those notes were found next to a Bible in his cell. And as more information is released, an attorney from his estate plans to use state leaders for negligence.
Once that investigation is done, I think the evidence should be preserved so that the plaintiff can review it and be satisfied that things have been done thoroughly and properly.
Meanwhile, the mother of Odin Lloyd, who Hernandez was serving a life sentence for killing, insists a civil suit will not happen. Hernandez was found in his Massachusetts jail cell early Wednesday morning, hanging from a bedsheet tied to a window. Right now, police in Irondale want you to be on the lookout for this man. Take a very close look at this photo. Officers believe he stole a vehicle on the 200 block of Vestavia Street. If you know him or you have any information, you are urged to call the Irondale Police Department or Crime Stoppers, and their number is 254-7777. Right now, a man accused of threatening to burn down his ex-girlfriend's house in Tuscaloosa is in jail. 22-year-old Jaquantis Nolan Turner was taken into custody by U.S. Marshals Thursday afternoon. He's being held in the Tuscaloosa County Jail without bond. In Calhoun County, turning our attention now to this story, 3 men are facing attempted murder and kidnapping charges. They allegedly attacked a woman for stealing their drugs. Now, deputies say the trio beat a 46-year-old woman before tying an electrical cord around her neck and leaving her in a creek under a bridge. Officers say the woman screamed for help for several hours before someone finally passed by and heard her.
The heinous act, I mean, just the violence that they did, just the beating of her, you know, using a hangman's noose to either drag her or try to hang her, it's definitely somebody with a lot of rage in them.
Well, the 3 suspects could face additional charges as well. New this morning, United Airlines misses a Senate deadline for explaining why a passenger was violently dragged off an overbooked flight in Chicago last week. A bipartisan group of senators seeking answers in the incident was, quote, disappointed that the Chicago Department of Aviation and United Airlines failed to respond to its requests. After missing the deadline, the city of Chicago promised to provide answers by April 26th. United Airlines says they will do so by April 27th, claiming they need more time to review exactly what happened. The Department of Transportation is also reviewing that incident. Your time right now, it is 5:38, and after the break, one high school teacher's bath passes aren't sitting well with some students. Coming up, what that pass says and why some say they're targeting particular students. You're watching CBS 42 Morning News. We'll be right back.
You're watching the CBS 42 Morning News.
All right, good morning to you, Central Alabama Storm Track meteorologist Michael Smith, and doing just that, tracking storms. Today is a weather aware day, starting out this morning. Very warm and balmy, temperatures in the upper 60s, lower 70s right now. Here's the action, the rough weather across parts of Mississippi, Arkansas, down into Louisiana. So we're going to be waiting for this line of strong to severe storms to arrive, and that will happen, but really for the second part of our Saturday. So as we start things out, as you can see right here with our storm track radar, the sweep comes back clean. The action is currently across northeast Mississippi, and that's not even severe. So let's talk about the threat for severe weather. Yeah, as we get to the 5 o'clock hour, I would say this evening, into the evening hours. So hour by hour, storm track futurecast clouds and radar 12 o'clock this afternoon, upper 70s on the thermometer and lower 80s with a mix of sun and clouds. Cold front approaches out ahead of it. This is 7 p.m. Those storms start to pop. Again, a few of these storms likely to produce gusty winds, perhaps up and over 60 miles an hour. So that would be damaging wind and a lot of lightning. Speaking of damaging wind, we're tracking that severe weather and storm damage across the southeast. Off to Arkansas we go. Tree down on that house, so it did a lot of damage. Took out the living room, as I am understanding. But the good news, no one was hurt, but they've got a big cleanup project on their hands.
Oh, yes. Oh, boy. We here in Alabama know what it's like to see damage like that. Yeah. All right, covering Birmingham this morning, the One Place Metro Family Justice Center will be opening in May on South Side. The center will be located at 1135 14th Avenue South. It's a collaboration between the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office, Birmingham Police Department, the YWCA, and Crisis Center. One Place will help victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. Currently, they are helping people at the District Attorney's Office, but are expected and they're excited about the move.
Traumatizing in some cases, as you try to go and tell your story multiple places seeking help. And so we're trying to make our resources that are already existing here in this community just a little more accessible for victims and survivors of crime.
The new location will officially open on May 1st. All services are free and confidential. New this morning, a New Mexico high school teacher's bathroom passes leave students upset and shocked. Some accuse the passes of targeting transgender students. Math teacher Donna Cravies, these passes say don't get confused at the top with the bold words girls and boys on each side. Many are bothered by them.
It's okay to have those kinds of beliefs. It's okay to have any kinds of beliefs, but you shouldn't be kind of pushing it on kids like that.
Well, a school spokeswoman says the passes are, quote, unacceptable and inappropriate. She says the teacher has been spoken to, but one student says he doesn't think the teacher meant to be offensive. Your time right now, it is 5:44 this morning, and it's the day Alabama fans have been waiting for. It's A-Day in Tuscaloosa. Next, everything you need to know, including updates on traffic and road closures, so much more, so stay with us.
A-Day game for Alabama coming up in a few hours. Who you've got to watch out for today, I'll tell you in sports.
All right, Chris Brees, we'll see you in a little bit. Everybody, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
You're watching the CBS 42 Morning News.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is the day Alabama fans have been waiting for. It is A-Day in Tuscaloosa. And if you're planning on going, you'll need to leave early and be prepared for some extra traffic. The USA Triathlon National Championships are also in town today, and that's going to mean some additional road closures, most notably on Jack Warner Parkway.
Which is a prime way for fans to come into campus. So, you know, the north side to our campus, the entrances are going to be closed, so fans are going to have to make alternate routes.
All right, don't worry. Alternative routes will be well marked. We actually have links to maps and other information you need to know on our website, WIAT.com. We always have you covered. All right, sticking with football this morning, the father of a former Auburn Tiger is on a mission to save lives following his son's tragic death. Our news team caught up with Mike Lutzenkirchen, who he actually brought his What Legacy Are You Leaving seminar to John Carroll Catholic High School in Birmingham. Lutzenkirchen's son, Philip, died in a car crash in 2014. He's sharing his story with high school and college students across the country.
And I hold nobody accountable to what happened that weekend other than Philip. And he let down his guard, he let down his beliefs, and it took his life. So what I hope these kids, after hearing this message, they leave and they say, I can make some changes, and some things I might be doing that I'm not proud of, I might be doing that aren't safe, might be illegal. And hopefully they're going to leave here making some significant changes that'll help them live a long, prosperous life.
Some powerful words from that father. Philip Lutzenkirchen was 23 years old when he was killed in a car crash in 2014. Investigators say he and the driver had been drinking. On that note, let's turn to Chris Brees now for more on your sports headlines.
Alabama's A-Day game today. I've got three names you have to watch out for. Najee Harris, #1 running back in the country. He's going to be great. Brian Robinson, Tuscaloosa product, also at running back, and Jerry Jeudy, phenom wide receiver, supposedly the next Calvin Ridley. They are from the same place in the Florida area. However, you can hype up a player all you want at practice. Proving it in a game is a different story. So at the A-Day game today, we're going to find out who can play and who's a pretender, and that's why Nick Saban always does this, ones versus twos.
You know, I feel really good about these guys. It'll be interesting to see how they do when they get out there on their own tomorrow. Even though it will be limiting what we do on offense, it'll be limiting what we do on defense. But to see how they lead, how they compete, how they keep their composure.
The rosters are out, and it's a glimpse of who's going to be a starter on the offensive line. The new name there is Matt Womack. Look at Robert Foster, first-string receiver, Isaiah Buggs on the defensive line, Keith Holcomb at linebacker, and Tony Brown getting a neat leadership nod in the secondary. Practice day Friday at Barber Motorsports, and it could not have gone any better for Team Penske. They finished with a clean sweep, 1, 2, 3, 4. Simon Pagenaud, Joseph Newgarden, Will Power, and Elio Castroneves. But here's the deal. What happens Sunday if all these guys are trying to win? Gentleman's agreement or no holds barred free-for-all?
Definitely never want to take your teammate out. That's the #1 rule in our team and pretty much every team.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, we all try and take care of each other as best we can because we're a unit, and the most important thing for Team Penske is having a car, and hopefully all 4 cars finishing well and as high up as they can. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that's obviously the best that you can achieve.
Qualifying is today. Race is 2:22 on the dot Sunday afternoon. SEC softball scores from last night. Auburn lost star players for marijuana use, but still found a way to win on the road against South Carolina 2-0. Alabama lost to Washington at home 3-2. I guess you could say that was the Huskies' revenge for losing the Peach Bowl back on December 31st.
All right, Chris Brees, thank you so much. Your time right now, it is 5:51, and after the break, we're going to find out how the weather is going to be for today's A-Day in Tuscaloosa. Michael Smith is back in just a few minutes with a look at your full forecast. Right after the break, don't go anywhere. We will be right back. See you soon.
You're watching the CBS 42 Morning News.
Good Saturday morning to you, Central Alabama. Thank you for joining us. Here's what you need to know as the weekend is now officially underway. Sunrise in progress. Sun up at 6:08 as we check out the tower cam view there. Not a bad start. In fact, nice, right? Okay, so we've got weather changes around the corner as we head through the afternoon into the evening. Storms will move in. Here they are right now across parts of Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana. This is rough weather in spots. So a weather aware day is in place today for us here at home across central Alabama. Again, storm track radar, the sweep comes back clean from the Alabama-Georgia border over to the Mississippi-Alabama border. However, storms are approaching parts of northwest central Alabama. This line right here could clip Hamilton over the next 45 minutes to about an hour. So part of the setup is the warmth. Yesterday we got up to 87 in Birmingham. Right now it's 67, so it's mild, it's muggy. Lower 60s in Alabaster. We've got 58 in Clanton, some patchy fog early this morning across the southern counties. So what about the Storm Prediction Center and their convective outlook? In other words, the threat for severe weather. We're right now mostly in the slight risk, and that risk would be winds gusting up and over 60 miles an hour and maybe some hail. And I think the time window of time would be 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. tonight. Tomorrow, that wet weather, rough weather moves off into Georgia. So more specifically, as we time it out for you with our Storm Track Futurecast clouds, radar, and those temperatures, upper 60s, lower 70s, 9 o'clock this morning, 12 o'clock this afternoon, A-OK for A-Day in T-Town. Those temperatures will be once again in the lower 80s. It'll feel more like the low to mid 80s and upper 80s with the humidity at times. 7 o'clock, ahead of the cold front tonight. These storms, the darker shades of orange and yellow, indicate that threat for strong to perhaps severe storms. 11 o'clock tonight, we're going to hold on to that threat. Here comes a cold front, though. It'll start to push through the metro area overnight into tomorrow morning. Temperatures noticeably cooler to kick off our Sunday, with those numbers back into the upper 50s and lower 60s. We're going to round out the weekend, again, well below our average high for this time of year, which is 76. Tomorrow, only in the upper 60s. Alex.
Like it. Thanks, Michael. Your time right now, it is 5:57 this morning, and the Birmingham Board of Education makes progress in picking a new superintendent. However, not every parent is happy with that decision. Straight ahead, what happened during a key meeting and who's coming to town next week. You're watching CBS 42 Morning News. That story and much more right after the break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Good Saturday morning to you, Central Alabama. I'm Storm Track meteorologist Michael Smith. Those clouds increasing this morning. Showers and storms, those are going to increase late this afternoon into the evening. We'll time out the forecast. I've got everything you need to know about our weekend weather coming up in just a few minutes. The CBS 42 Morning News starts right now.
Good morning, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Anniston, and all of Central Alabama. You're watching the CBS 42 Morning News.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for waking up with us. Developing right now, the pool of finalists for the next Birmingham City School Superintendent has whittled down to just 2, but it isn't coming without a whole lot of controversy. Tensions were high at last night's Birmingham Board of Education meeting. Going to some video now, we know the board chose Kentucky's Lisa Herring and Regina Thompson of South Carolina. Both parents, actually a lot of parents, say that they really aren't happy about all of this. They are upset that none of the candidates actually have come from Alabama. Now we know that things got heated and that audience member, one of those members, had to be escorted to the door by security.
We're very excited to have these candidates come back in. It's very important to us that we maintain the leadership of our district and that we go ahead and get someone in place so that we can continue with the business of teaching and learning.
It is very important that the next superintendent have fundamental financial skills based on the unique funding formulas Alabama has. Dr. Guy Cooten didn't have it. It got her into trouble.
All right, well, Herring and Thompson are expected in the city next week to tour schools and interview at the central office. The board hopes to choose a candidate on May 2nd. Also developing right now, a crash kills 2 people in Shelby County. The Shelby County Sheriff's Office says it happened around 5:45 yesterday evening. Both lanes on State Road 145 had to be shut down for hours. That's near the Dollar General on Highway 47. So far, troopers have not released the names of those involved. We're also working to learn more about another incident. Birmingham police say a pedestrian was hit by a vehicle. It happened near South Park Church on Pearson Avenue Southwest just before 10 last night. Now, as soon as more information is released, we're going to pass it along to you right here throughout our show. So stay with us and also be sure to check in at WIAT.com.
Good Saturday morning to you, Central Alabama. Live look outside from our CBS 42 tower camera. Sun up at 6:08. We've got changing weather in the works for the weekend, really for today. So today is a weather aware day. Heads up, it's not going to be that pretty as you look out the window later on this evening, late this afternoon into the evening. Here's why. An area of low pressure, cold front back off to the west, warm, humid air coming in and out of the Gulf of Mexico. So here's a setup, showers and storms from parts of Kentucky down into northern Mississippi right now. This, by the way, this area right here, severe thunderstorm watch for parts of Arkansas and Louisiana, and even a little tiny sliver there of Mississippi. For us, for the time being, the clouds will start to increase, and that's currently happening from Hamilton over to you and Fayette. Good morning, by the way. A few showers and storms will clip you within the next hour to 45 minutes, but that's not the bulk of the action. That, again, comes later on today. So the storm outlook, slight chance between 5, I would say, this afternoon, evening, to 11 o'clock tonight as that cold front slowly migrates off to the east. As we look ahead to Sunday, showers and storms, what's left of that action will be in Georgia. Temperatures will be very warm again today with a sun-cloud mix. So the first part of the day, okay. And then again, later on this evening, those storms pop. Some of them could be strong to severe. I'll have much more on this coming up in just a few minutes. Alex.
All right, Michael, thank you. New this morning, Vice President Mike Pence continues his 10-day tour with a stop in Australia. Pence met with Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull this morning, saying the U.S. would honor a refugee deal with the country to resettle asylum seekers and that the USS Carl Vinson will be in the Sea of Japan in a matter of days. Turnbull also addressed the importance of achieving a nuclear-free Korean peninsula because of new engagement with China. Right now, U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions says the Justice Department is considering changes against WikiLeaks, actually charges, I should say. The site posted classified government documents as well as campaign emails. Let's dig a little bit further. WikiLeaks posted a 31-page user guide for a CIA device codenamed Weeping Angel. It can turn someone's Samsung TVs into surveillance tools with an implant designed to record audio from the built-in microphone. It's the latest release of classified documents stolen from U.S. government agencies. The thefts include thousands of pages taken by Chelsea Manning and Edward Snowden. Sessions says he's reopened the case against WikiLeaks and its founder, Julian Assange.
We've seen too many breaches, and hopefully we'll be able to strike back against those who violate our systems.
CBS News has learned that the CIA and FBI believe the theft at the CIA was an inside job. Investigators say the materials were stolen from a highly secure section of the intelligence agency where it takes two people to access that information. Now, Assange could be prosecuted under a number of statutes, but WikiLeaks argues it is like a media organization and that activities actually are protected by the First Amendment. New this morning, officials in San Francisco are still trying to figure out what happened at a substation leading to a massive power outage in the city. Take a look at this video. Pacific Gas and electric officials say 300 traffic lights were down, causing a gridlock. At least 2 hospitals were running on generator power during the day. Business owners were forced to close their doors. PG&E says a circuit breaker caught fire Friday morning, leading to that outage.
We had an equipment failure. A catastrophic failure of one of our circuit breakers. When the circuit breaker failed, it created a fire around the breaker. The insulation around the breaker burned, and that's what created the situation for us.
PG&E says the breaker failure is likely age-related because the equipment is older. Now, the company is set to start a $100 million upgrade to the substation next year. New this morning, the dry season in Florida is taking a devastating turn for some residents. Some were not able to save important documents before flames took over their homes. Take a look at this video on your screen. Florida's Forestry Service says this is the most active fire season since 2011. They say if it continues, they'll go over their base budget of more than $153 million, and that budget will be gone pretty soon. Take a listen.
Yeah, when we get a call for assistance, we're going to commit the amount of personnel that it takes and the amount of equipment it takes to safely handle that fire and protect lives and property.
The Forestry Service says if the fires continue, that means equipment has to be used more often, meaning more wear and tear and more replacements. A little bit closer to home now, Alabama is changing the way it handles Amber Alerts. Governor Kay Ivey says the state will no longer wait for a missing child to be reported as, quote, abducted for an Amber Alert to be issued. The change follows an incident in Bessemer this week. A mother left her child inside a car at a Citgo gas station. Surveillance video shows Jimmy Lee Wells getting into that car and driving off with the baby still inside. Wells faces kidnapping and theft charges. Now, Governor Ivey says the change will, quote, ensure that we are keeping the public informed, and Amber Alerts give all Alabamians the opportunity to be involved in caring for our children. Right now, a 15-year-old is reunited with her family after spending more than a month on the run with her teacher, who police say kidnapped her. Law enforcement and family searched for Elizabeth Thomas and Tad Cummins for 39 days. They were finally found Thursday at a remote Northern California cabin. There's no Wi-Fi, no self-service, and no electricity in that area. A tipster reported the pair after noticing Cummins' car didn't have a license plate.
I had a picture of this Amber Alert out of Tennessee or whatnot, and then I was like, that's the guy.
Hair color different?
Yeah, and it was all vague, just the way he was going about it, keeping her in the shadows.
Barry says Cummins referred to Thomas as his wife and said they lost everything in a house fire in Colorado. Cummins is now in federal custody, facing several charges. Thomas is being treated by mental health experts after suffering several emotional trauma. Covering the Alabama legislature this morning, a new bill would allow the words "In God We Trust" to appear on any public building in the state. Senator Gerald Dial of Lineville introduced the measure last week. If it passes, the display would have to be approved by a state agency, a municipality, county, or school board. Dial introduced similar measures in the past, like allowing displays of the Ten Commandments at public institutes. Your time right now, it is 6:10 this morning. A dry cleaning service is changing things up and going green. After the break, how they're saving the earth and why customers are pretty happy with the results.
All right, and speaking of green, we've got a lot of it on the radar. Off to our west, showers and storms, some of those currently severe. Right now here at home, a decent start, but today is a weather aware day. I'll explain why on the flip side of the break.
You're watching the CBS 42 Morning News.
Yes, today is a weather aware day. Good Saturday morning to you, Central Alabama. Storm Track meteorologist Michael Smith. The sun is up as we get our Saturday going. The weather not bad at all. However, off to the west, the weather is kind of nasty across parts of Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, and some of those storms are packing a punch right now. Severe thunderstorm watch in place just off to our west. So with that being said, the weather will be changing as we head into the afternoon and the evening. Right now, as we check out the action across parts of northeast Mississippi and northwest Alabama, these showers and storms cutting across the state. This is a look at our Storm Track radar and satellite imagery over the last 4 hours. So this is not moving all that fast. None of what I'm showing you right here is severe, P.S. So again, starting out with plenty of sun, kind of balmy this morning. Temperatures upper 60s, lower 70s right now. By 3 o'clock this afternoon, we'll notice those isolated showers and or storms pop around Tuscaloosa, Fayette. And if you're outside and you hear thunder, that means lightning is close enough to be dangerous and deadly. You want to take it indoors. So the storm threat will increase by 7 o'clock this evening. Some of these storms producing gusty winds up and over 60 miles an hour. Then the cold front slides through overnight into tomorrow morning. Storms out and cooler weather moves in. Okay, today is Earth Day and one dirty job is getting clean by, get this, Going Green. An eco-friendly dry cleaner is now up and running in San Francisco. Mulberry's uses biodegradable organic dry cleaning solvents and plant-based laundry detergents that are free of chemicals, dyes, and perfumes. I like to say perfumes, even though it's perfumes. Customers say the chemicals are less abrasive on clothes, so there's less wear and tear on their shirts. Mulberry's also uses sustainable wool hangers or reusable metal hangers.
Very, very nice.
Yeah.
I like that. Perfect story for Earth Day, right? Yes,
Hang up on that.
I'm going to be saying that all day, Michael.
Perfume.
Perfumes. All
Eau de
right.
toilette.
New this morning, turning our attention now to this serious story. Las Vegas Metro Police are investigating a parking lot shooting. Police say 2 men were arguing outside a Nevada welfare office. One man opened fire and the other was rushed to the hospital. Police say they arrested the gunman at a nearby bank parking lot.
And at this moment, we understand it's a stable condition. We also had a witness that pointed out where the suspect was located. We have a suspect in custody as well with no further incidents.
Now, because the shooting happened at a state office, Nevada's Capitol Police are investigating with Metro Police. New this morning, a doctor is being investigated after allegedly performing liposuction surgery at a bar in rural Michigan. Now, the health department issued the warning after finding out that the doctor doesn't actually have a legal business license. Officials were worried the doctor may not have followed the appropriate biohazard standards. Now, the doctor has faced several other complaints in the past as well, but none are related to his procedures in spaces in Cascade Township or Kalamazoo.
She can walk, she can run, she can scream, she says help. How long would it take for me as an adult to bite her 18 times?
A Dothan child is recovering after her mom says she was left in daycare. She actually left daycare that day. You're looking at the pictures here with bite marks, and her face was bitten up as well. Can you imagine? The Department of Human Resources in the Dothan area is investigating this incident. The department believes the bites may have come from another child at the daycare, but the little girl's mother still has questions. Hannah Mills picked up her 1-year-old daughter, Spencer, in March from Kitty Campus Daycare. That's when she saw those marks. The daycare owners told Mills Spencer fell outside, and Mills says she counted 18 marks on her daughter and rushed her to the hospital.
There was dry blood on her face and on her right thigh. There was 2 bites that had bled and ran down her leg and dried.
Mills says when she brought Spencer home, the little girl had a panic attack and went back to the hospital. Mills says they've changed daycares, but her daughter is still haunted. Now, the daycare owner told our station in Dothan that until police actually get involved, they will not comment on the incident. There he is. Fans of Prince are celebrating the late singer's life in Minneapolis this weekend. Yesterday marked 1 year since Prince died after an accidental overdose. Makeshift tributes are popping up across the city. Buildings and bridges will glow in purple light throughout the weekend. Prince's former bandmates are also holding concerts. Panel discussions and tours of his Paisley Park estate and overnight block party will all kick off tonight. Your time right now, it is 6:18, and after the break, one mayor is fighting back after a nasty letter from the Justice Department. Straight ahead, the words from Bill de Blasio and why he's calling out Donald Trump and Jeff Sessions. You're watching CBS 42 News. We'll be right back.
Looking for new indoor or outdoor furniture can be overwhelming. There's so many styles and colors to choose from, and of course, there's the big question of how to integrate your new with the old.
I had a couple that had recently purchased a lake house, and they, inherited some of the, an older collection. So we just kind of took what they had. We ordered new cushions for the older collection, and then we just integrated, some of our newer products with that. And it was absolutely amazing.
You need help with those big decisions, and people like Rachel Hawk, who's a design consultant with Summer Classics, are there to help you out.
We help them realize, that it doesn't matter if it's an older collection. We still have things that we can integrate with their older things.
She works with what you have to integrate the new with the old, making timeless pieces seem new again.
We'll take, some of our colorists and we'll put them on pillows and do, something bright, bold on like a pillow or on a chair, like a lounge chair, something bold to kind of bring out their area.
So if you're ready to buy that indoor or outdoor furniture, this is the perfect time of year to do that because you could save literally thousands of dollars.
That's because Summer Classics is having a huge 48-hour sale. It's going on right now, and they're taking 40 to 60% off all of their outdoor furniture. But if you're still wondering how to get started.
Well, a good starting point, really just for maybe them making an appointment for one of us, the design consultants, to come out and see what we're working with so we can kind of help. Maybe we just integrate a chair for now with, one of those bold colors I was talking about, or a pattern of some sort, just to get things rolling.
Get the help you need to bring beautiful furniture and accessories into your home by coming to Summer Classics on Highway 31 in Pelham.
Come out. Yes, we will help you, and, we want you to have the best of the best.
The preceding portion of the CBS 42 News at noon was sponsored by Summer Classics. You're watching the CBS 42 Morning News.
Welcome back, everyone. A TV star and Birmingham native comes back to the Magic City. NCIS New Orleans actress Shakita Smith made a stop here on Friday. Smith visited the A.J. Gaston Boys and Girls Club, which happens to be the same organization she was part of as a child. She talks about living in Birmingham and her career during the visit. Smith credits the organization for helping her become who she is today.
Sometimes you don't have that person that's going to encourage you, and the Boys and Girls Club was one of those, places where they encouraged me, impacted me, and helped me along my career.
The other? Well, Smith says she's producing and starring in a movie made right here in Alabama. It's called Alabama Girl. All right. Love that.
Yeah.
Getting those kids inspired.
She just seems like not only a good person and a whole lot of fun to be around.
Yeah, absolutely.
And inspiring. Call us. Let's hang out later.
Yeah, you know the number.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Enough with joking. Let's get to our weather this morning, Michael, because it's going to be a roller coaster ride. We have A-Day. We have a whole lot going on.
Yeah,
we do. A lot of
do.
weekend plans.
Today is a weather aware day.
Yes.
So right now things are quiet, but later on this afternoon into the evening, that's not going to be the case. Speaking of A-Day and the game that will take place in T-Town, here's a live look at Tuscaloosa. Good morning to you. The sun's up, high clouds overhead right now. Temperatures currently are in. Let's bring in the numbers. All right, ranging from 67 in Birmingham, T-Town 61, Gadsden, good morning to you. It's 59. All right, the sun is up. Temperatures will continue to rise. Showers and storms. The rain's coming down across parts of northern Mississippi. Severe thunderstorm watch, including parts of East Texas, northwest Louisiana, the southern fringe there of Arkansas, and a tiny sliver around Greenville, Mississippi, northwest of Jackson. So the bottom line is this morning, not an issue with the weather. These showers approaching parts of northwest central Alabama are heading north-northeast. None of this is severe. This is a look at the radar and satellite combined over the last 24 hours. So in 24 hours, it's been on the move, but slow to move. So showers and storms are going to be a good bet late this afternoon into the evening. So if you've got plans between now and 3, I would say for the most part, it's going to be A-okay. Then 3 o'clock comes around, temperatures upper 70s, lower 80s. Those storms will start to pop. And a few of these storms, as we get going into the evening could be producing winds up and over 60 miles an hour. That's really the main threat. And again, if you're outdoors and you hear thunder, that means lightning's close enough to be dangerous and or deadly, combination of them both. So we can prevent that by going indoors. Cold front on the move. It approaches the metro area 11 o'clock tonight. We'll still be out ahead of the front here in Birmingham. Behind it, temperatures start to fall back into the 50s overnight into tomorrow morning under a mainly cloudy sky, so a temperature swing down again into the 50s. High temperatures tomorrow with the clouds in place will struggle to make it into the lower 60s across the metro area. Storm Track 7-day forecast featuring this. Again, weather aware today. The clouds hang out tomorrow, noticeably cooler, and then a nice stretch of good-looking weather through Friday. Alex.
All right, looks so good. Thank you so much, Michael. Everybody at home, your time right now, it is 6:27 this morning, and Earth Day is here again. Coming up, the events underway to celebrate the Earth and make it a little bit cleaner to live in for all of us. Who doesn't like that, right? Stay with us. We'll be right back. This is the CBS 42 Morning News.
Good morning, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Anniston, and all of Central Alabama. You're watching the CBS 42 Morning News.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for waking up with us. I am Alex Finney, and this is the CBS 42 Morning News Weekend. We love having you every single Saturday and Sunday. Alongside of me is Storm Track meteorologist Michael Smith to get a look at that Saturday forecast, because a whole lot of plans. It's the weekend, right?
Yeah, it is the weekend.
Get up, get out.
It's A-Day. We've got a weather aware in place today. Live look at T-Town. Good morning to you. So as we kick it off this Saturday morning, high clouds will continue to increase. Temperatures this morning are in the 60s and a few spots in the upper 50s. So here's the setup. An area of low pressure across Arkansas, cold front, trailing cold front, there it is, cutting across Arkansas now into Texas. Behind it, it is cooler, the air mass is more stable. Out ahead of it, where we're located, the air mass is not necessarily all that stable, so we're running the risk of those strong to severe storms kind of holding together as they continue to move west to east. Here's a look at our storm track radar and satellite combined over the last 24 hours. This is marching off to the east-northeast at a snail's pace, so a few of these showers currently clipping just northwest of Hamilton as they move north-northeast. None of that is severe. All right, but the severe storm threat today, as we look at the scale, according to the Storm Prediction Center, is on the slight side. And any of those storms that do go severe, the main threat will be those winds up and over 60 miles an hour. And P.S., lightning is not a criteria for severe weather, but I want to remind you of lightning safety. If you hear thunder, that means lightning is close enough to be dangerous and deadly, so get indoors. The action starts to pop between 5 and 7 this afternoon into the evening. Then the cold front will slide through overnight into tomorrow morning. We'll talk more about a cool down for our Sunday in a few minutes. Alex.
All right, Michael, thank you so much. Happening today, it is Earth Day, everyone. Some celebrations are already kicking off around the world. Hundreds of volunteers took part in a river cleanup this morning in Taipei. The city's Environmental Protection Bureau says people of all ages helped in this cleanup efforts, and many of the groups were there as part of their community or their companies. And meanwhile, over to this now, thousands of scientists and environmentalists are heading to Washington, D.C. for the annual March for Science. It comes during growing concerns about climate change and other environmental issues as well. There will also be a March for Science event right here in Birmingham, and it starts at 9:30 this morning at Lynn Park. The actual march will not begin until noon. Over to this story now. Some Jefferson County Sheriff's deputies believe a 17-year-old Birmingham teen is behind a shooting that left 6 people at a church carnival hurt. Larique Bailey is charged with assault in the 2nd degree. Deputies say some charges are expected. A 1-year-old and several teenagers were hurt in that shooting. A pregnant woman was also checked out after being knocked to the ground by people running from gunfire.
You know, he's 17 years old, and how in the world a kid 17 even believes that they need to take a gun into a children's carnival is a little beyond belief. But it happened, and not only did he take it in, but he used it.
1-year-old Carly Caves is recovering at home after being shot in the leg just above her ankle. She celebrated her first birthday on Wednesday. Covering Calhoun County this morning, 3 men face attempted murder and kidnapping charges. They allegedly attacked a woman for stealing their drugs. Deputies say the 3 men beat the 46-year-old victim before tying an electrical cord around her neck and leaving her in a creek under a bridge. Deputies say the woman screamed for help for several hours before someone finally passed by and heard those screams.
The heinous act, I mean, just the violence that they did, just the beating of her, you know, using a hangman's noose to either drag her or try to hang her, it's definitely somebody with a lot of rage in them.
Deputies tell us the trio could face more charges soon. Well, check this out. I want you to take a look. A man is safe after a dramatic rescue from a steep cliff in San Francisco. Officials say the man hiked to a frightening height on the cliff near China Beach. Surfers saw him clinging to the sheer rock face and called 911. A California Highway Patrol helicopter dropped a rescuer who strapped the man into a harness and airlifted him to safety. The man suffered minor bruises and simply walked away after that whole ordeal. Wow. Well, he is certainly very lucky. New this morning, turning our attention now to this story. New York Mayor Bill de Blasio responds to claims by Attorney General Jeff Sessions about how the city handles crimes. De Blasio says the city just marked the safest 3 months in its history. Now, the Justice Department said New York had gang murders because of its soft stance on crime. However, de Blasio says that's not the case.
It is an outrageous statement, and it's absurd on its face and ignores a quarter century of progress in this city in bringing down crime. We did not become the safest big city in America by being quote unquote soft. It is an outrageous.
Well, de Blasio also challenged President Trump and AG Sessions to come to New York City and look at the city's officers in the eyes and tell them that they believe they're soft on crime. Well, meanwhile, the Trump administration is sending a warning to officials in sanctuary cities. The Justice Department's Inspector General identified 9 jurisdictions as limiting the information local law enforcement provide federal immigration authorities about those in their custody. Some localities remain defiant, while the warning threatened some cities actually may lose grant money if they don't comply with the federal government. New this morning, the Army Corps of Engineers is trying to keep flooding at a minimum as severe weather pounds Oklahoma. The Corps shut off a water release at a dam to help regulate releases during the heavy rainfall. Water is quickly rising from a creek in one town while storm drains and ditches start to overflow. The Corps says they are monitoring the situation and will likely open the gates again soon to get the water levels back down.
We're going to start backing off our discharges so we're not flooding those guys out. Now, consequently, yes, it's going to create some localized flooding around our lake, Oologah Lake, which primarily will affect our recreation areas, but it's going to protect our downstream residents.
The Army Corps says it's important to get the water levels back down since lake recreation season is just around the corner. Next Thursday will mark 6 years since tornadoes ripped through the state on April 27th. Since that day, EMA offices around Alabama have been working to keep families safe. The Jefferson County EMA and Tuscaloosa EMA came together Friday to talk about a new way to notify communities during severe weather. Both counties are on the same county-wide notification system called Everbridge, and they say it's just one example of how the two agencies are working together to keep people in central Alabama safe.
April 27th, the tornado that hit Tuscaloosa ended up in Jefferson County, the same one. So we need to work together so we can keep our citizens safe. If we have anything that we would want to say, it's we don't want any more fatalities. We don't want any more people killed.
Now, if you'd like to sign up for the alerts, you can find the links on our website, WIAT.com. Just search Weather Alert. Continuing coverage this morning, State Auditor Jim Ziegler finishes 2 of the 4 required exit audits after Robert Bentley resigns as governor. Ziegler's staff says they've counted for all items of state property in the governor's office, at the Capitol, and at the governor's mansion. An audit of the Blunt estate in East Montgomery will be finished on Tuesday. Covering Birmingham this morning, the One Place Metro Family Justice Center will be opening in May on the south side. Let's go to some video now. The center is on 14th Avenue South. It's a collaboration between the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office, Birmingham Police Department, the YWCA, and Crisis Center. One Place will help victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. Currently, they are helping people at the District Attorney's Office, but are expected and they're excited about the move.
Traumatizing in some cases, as you try to go and tell your story multiple places seeking help. And so we're trying to make our resources that are already existing here in this community just a little more accessible for victims and survivors of crime.
The new location will officially open on May 1st, and all services are free and confidential. Well, it's the final day for the 19th annual Lebanese Food and Cultural Festival here in Birmingham. The festival features authentic, fresh Lebanese food like hummus, grape leaves, and baklava. It's open from 10 this morning to 9 tonight at St. Elias Maronite Church. Up to 10,000 guests are expected to attend that festival. It also features Lebanese music, traditional dancing, guided church tours, and a silent auction. A whole lot of fun and some good food too. All right, your time right now. It is 6:40 this morning, and after the break, we're taking a turn. More trouble for United Airlines and the city of Chicago. Coming up, the important deadline the airline missed and what's next for them with this whole investigation.
All right, and we're investigating our forecast for the weekend. Showers and storms, cold front about 400 miles off to our west. A nice start to our Saturday morning, but things could get a little turbulent this afternoon. We're going to talk about it on the flip side of this quick commercial break.
You're watching the CBS 42 Morning News.
All right, good Saturday morning. Thank you for joining us as we start off our weekend. Live look outside together with our CBS 42 Tower Cam. High clouds overhead across the Magic City now. Showers and storms move in late this afternoon into the evening and perhaps nighttime hours. Here's a setup. We've got a cold front back off to our west. It's a good 400 miles to our west. The showers and storms are slow movers. This is a look at the radar combined over the last 12 hours. I want to take you into parts of northern Mississippi and northwest Alabama. Good morning, Hamilton. Clouds are increasing. The showers are increasing as well. Nothing severe with this. We'll take a closer look at the area. This is all moving north-northeast, light to moderate rain. Now things are going to change late this afternoon into the evening. So let's talk about it starting at 3 o'clock. Isolated storms begin to pop up with temperatures in the upper 70s, lower 80s area wide. Here comes that cold front on the approach. We're still ahead of it where the atmosphere is unstable. Some of these storms could produce winds up and over 60 miles an hour. If you're outdoors and you hear thunder, lightning's close enough to get indoors, take cover, play it safe. And then the cold front slides through overnight into tomorrow morning with temperatures dropping into the 50s. And tomorrow afternoon, plenty of clouds around and high temperatures only in the 60s. New this morning, at least 9 homes have been destroyed and 7,000 more are under a mandatory evacuation in Naples, Florida. A brush fire has burned almost 5,000 acres. So far, it's only 10% contained. A second brush fire is also threatening homes in the Naples area. Governor Rick Scott deployed the Florida National Guard to help evacuate families and fight those nasty fires.
Oh boy, not good there. All right, well, we have some more not so great news. New this morning, United misses a Senate deadline for explaining why a passenger was violently dragged off an overbooked flight in Chicago. A bipartisan group of senators says they're disappointed United and the Chicago Department of Aviation never responded to its requests. Now, the city of Chicago now promises to provide answers by April 26th. United says they'll do so by April 27th, claiming they need more time to review exactly what happened. The Department of Transportation is also investigating. A live look now from Tuscaloosa. The streets will soon be packed at Bryant-Denny. Will be rocking during the annual A-Day game. Game officials are expecting 80 to 85,000 people, and if you happen to be one of them, you'll need to be patient. That's right. Tuscaloosa is hosting the USA Triathlon National Championships this weekend as well. The city says people should be prepared for road closures and construction delays. Now, we have more information about everything you need to know before you head out the door and head on over to Tuscaloosa. Just go to our website, WIAT.com, and search A-Day game. And it's a big day at Barber Motorsports Park. The Indy Grand Prix of Alabama is underway. Practice revs up at 11 this morning for an hour. Qualifying is set for 3 this afternoon, and the green flag drops tomorrow at 2:30. The CBS 42 sports team is following up on all the action to keep you up to date and informed. All right, your time right now. It is 6:47 this morning, and a man is retiring after decades of making candy. Next, the new lifestyle he's getting ready for after life at the Dum Dums factory. You're watching CBS 42 Morning News. That story and much more right after the break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
You're watching the CBS 42 Morning News.
Welcome back, everyone. New this morning, if you've ever had a Dum Dum lollipop, there's a good chance this guy that we're about to tell you about made it. And after more than 50 billion of them, he's saying, all right, I'm done. It's time to retire. Al Braun has been a candy maker since 1969. He watched his last bag go by Friday with his family at his side as he prepared to say goodbye. Braun says it's a bittersweet moment, but he says that it's time for him to leave. Braun isn't sure exactly what retirement holds, but boy, oh boy, he's gonna enjoy it. Yes, absolutely. Who doesn't love those lollipops? What I love, when you go to Wells Fargo or the banks, they always have those lollipops for you.
I call that smart. Good for him.
Exactly.
There's plenty of Dum-Dums all over the place.
Exactly.
Lollipops.
Lollipops, of course. Your time right now, it is 6:50. Let's get a check on that weekend forecast with Storm Track meteorologist Michael Smith. Take it away, Michael.
I will. I'll take it away.
You're no dum-dum.
No. It depends on who you ask. But as we head through the day, the weather's going to be changing. Live look at Tuscaloosa. Good morning to you. The clouds, they're increasing. Today's a weather aware day. So we've got a lot going on across central Alabama. Here's an area of low pressure. There it is across Arkansas. Cold front trails southwest. Back behind it, the air is slightly cooler. And out ahead of it, where we're currently situated, and unless we get on a plane and get up and go, that's where we're going to be for whatever. All right, so if you're flying today, there's a little bit of turbulence as you fly north and to the west, up and over these storms. Showers and storms currently in progress across northern Mississippi into northern Alabama and approaching the Hamilton area. This is light to moderate rain at best. Nothing severe with this. But we do run the risk of seeing a few of those storms go severe late this afternoon into the evening. So we'll time it out with our Storm Track Futurecast clouds radar and temperature. We're going to kick the clock off at 3 p.m. Mid to upper 70s, lower 80s on the thermometer. The clouds increase, showers and storms. This is some new model data coming in. It looks like still between 5 and 7. That's when things will start kicking. There's the cold front out ahead of the front. Those storms, again, with gusty, damaging winds possible. If you're outdoors today and you hear thunder, that means take it indoors. Lightning's close enough to be dangerous and deadly if you can hear that thunder. And then behind the cold front, temperatures tomorrow morning back into the 50s and afternoon highs tomorrow only in the 60s. So the ups, the downs, and everything all around. My Storm Track 7-day forecast. There we go. Nice stretch of weather after Sunday, lasting into Friday with those temperatures getting up there, upper 80s. Weather on the go, anytime, anywhere. Search WIAT Weather. Download App Store, get it, Google Play, hourly and daily forecasts, and a whole lot more. Alex.
Michael, the ups, the downs, everything in between, but that weather looks good. Thanks, Michael. Your time right now, it is 6:53. We have 7 minutes left to go. And if you're just getting up with us, stick around because we have a look at the top stories that we've been covering all morning long right here on CBS 42 Morning News. All that right after the break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
watching the CBS 42 Morning News.
Welcome back, everyone. Your time right now, it is 6:56 this morning, and we're going to take a look at the top stories we've been covering throughout the show. First, this story. The Birmingham City School Superintendent search is narrowed down to 2 candidates. Parents are upset because none of the finalists are from the state. The Board of Education hopes to make a final choice on May 2nd. We're working to find out new details on a pedestrian struck. Birmingham police were called to Pearson Avenue Southwest last night. Now, as soon as we find out more information, we're going to share it with you right here on air and also online at WIAT.com. Governor Kay Ivey says Alabama is changing its Amber Alert criteria. It comes after a man stole a car with a baby inside from a Bessemer gas station. Jimmy Lee Wells now faces kidnapping and theft charges. The man who called police after finding a missing student and a teacher out of Tennessee is sharing his story. Griffin Berry says he was suspicious of Tad Cummins' car, actually, because it had no license plate. He later recognized Elizabeth Thomas. She's now back home safely. People are getting ready to celebrate Earth Day by getting outside. Thousands of scientists and environmentalists are heading to D.C. for the March for Science. A local march is set for noon at Lynn Park. And Tuscaloosa will be packed today. It's the annual A-Day game at Bryant-Denny. The day starts with Fan Fest at 8 a.m. and A-Day kicks off at 2 this afternoon. Over to you, Michael.
Thank you, Alex. Today is a weather-aware day, starting out with plenty of sunshine. The storms pop late this afternoon into the evening. High temperatures today in the lower 80s. Tomorrow, we're behind the cold front. Afternoon highs in the 60s, overnight lows Sunday into Monday morning. Take a dip, baby, dip down into the lower 50s with afternoon high temperatures back into the upper 80s on Friday.
Now I have that song stuck in my head, Michael. Dip, baby, dip. All right. And on that note, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Take care. Happy Saturday and happy A-Day.